Well, hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you guys how to roast delicata squash. It's a squash that's available. Oh, it's been in the farmer's market for the last 2 weeks, and it'll be available right up until Christmas, and it's a really delicious squash. I start off by cutting off the ends of the squash, like so. This one's a little bit longer, so I'm going to cut this one in half. And then, with a long, narrow blade, I'm going to take out the seeds. And they come out pretty easily. A couple of swipes, and you'll have most of the seeds out. Like so. And the reason I cut this longer one in half is just because the knife's not quite long enough. And there we go. And then this last piece. And really, they're nice and clean now. Now what I do is I take the squash that I've hollowed out and I cut them into rings of about roughly a half an inch. And I try to get them in a uniform width. And they cut easily. The outer shell of the squash is a little hard, but when you roast it, it gets softer. So it is edible. And then this last one. So then I started with 3 squashes, and I probably have about roughly about 30 squash rings. I'm going to pour some olive oil, and I use a generous amount of olive oil because it helps to brown the squash, and also the squash will absorb the oil and you get that much better a flavor. And then we'll go ahead and season with salt and pepper. Now, I've had a number of our customers try to duplicate the squash rings, and they said, well, they never come out tasting like ours, and I'm convinced the reason for that is that they're not using enough olive oil, so be generous with the olive oil. And then I'm going to use some dry thyme. And then lastly, I'm going to add some ground shallot to that. And again, I'm generous with the amount of shallot because I really particularly like the flavor combination of the shallot, the thyme, and the squash. So there you have it. Now I just toss these guys. Retrieve that one. And then I'll usually pour a little bit of the olive oil onto the pan like that, and use one of the squash just to oil the pan like so. So these are just about going to fit on. And there we go. So I'll put these into a 400-degree oven They take probably about 20 minutes to roast. So you guys wait here, I'll be right back. Now after about 20 minutes, you have these beautiful golden brown squash rings. And they're really delicious. They go great with any kind of meat. They're wholesome, filling, and delicious. So thank you. Try these at home. I think you'll enjoy them.